I mean, I think the choices of the future are going to be communism, or if you want to call it socialism in the Democrat Party, or nationalism in the Republican Party. I mean, that is where we're headed. Those are the two populist directions. But let's look at what these DSA candidates stand for. So let's look at what their platform is. They actually say...
All right, so that's David Sachs, who's working directly with President Trump. He is involved in the White House AI and the tech side of things, but he's also a billionaire, and he's also a host or one of the regulars on the All In podcast, which is a bunch of high-level finance guys. And he's going to break down what the DSA platform is. But if you haven't seen the DSA platform, I want to be able to show it to you first, because this is their stated platform. You guys ready for this? Okay, here we go. On the far left, top box, it might look a little small if you're looking on a smaller screen. I've got it blown up over here. All of this came directly from their document. If you look at the top right, it says their ultimate goal, a Democrat Socialist Republic, to win the battle for democracy, draft a new constitution, and create a Democratic Socialist Republic, whatever the hell that means. This is the DSA's official platform. They wrote it. They approved it. Now you're going to learn it. All right, first block. Abolish the Senate. Implement proportional representation and ranked choice voting in all elections, and abolish the Senate. They don't even want senators. I don't have to tell you, that's crazy. Number two, replace the president and the Supreme Court. We don't need to have a president. Replace the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. So what that means is they want Congress, which they plan on taking over, to actually run the country. Instead of having a president, we will now have no Senate, and the president now gets picked by the Congress. Number three, defund the Department of War. Defund the Department of War and all foreign wars, and close overseas military bases. That might be the most insane thing they want. They don't want us to have an army. No military. Next, second row to the left. Abolish the carceral state. Redirect police and prison funding to public services as steps forward towards abolishing the carceral forces of the capital state. They want no more incarceration. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody goes to jail, and we have no military. It's just one giant escape from New York wall, because that's all it's going to be. No military, no judge, and no prisons. This is actually their stated platform. Let's continue to the second row middle. And of course, you got to have some free Palestine in there. You couldn't possibly have Democrat, Socialist, and Communist without free Palestine. For a free Palestine with Jerusalem as its capital. I'm sorry. Free Palestine with Jerusalem as its capital. Jerusalem's the capital of some other country right now. Oh, you don't want that other country to be in existence. Gotcha. Prosecute U.S. and Israeli leaders responsible for the genocide in Gaza. End sanctions on Cuba, Venezuela, and Iran. And economic warfare against countries whose governments act independently of the United States, such as Cuba, Venezuela, and Iran. Well, good luck with Venezuela. But Cuba, yep, we're supposed to just let it go. Nope, let it go. Not supposed to have any sort of influence in Cuba, 90 miles off of our shores. The bottom row, abolish ICE and grant amnesty for everybody. End ICE detention. Yeah, you can see that. End ICE detention and deportations, and punish federal agents' brutality. Legalize migration from all over the world. Anybody can come here. grant amnesty for all immigrants, regardless of status, provide a path to citizenship for all permanent residents, and end visa caps and quotas. Can you imagine this? Okay, so just you understand what they're saying. We're going to do away with the military. No more military. We're going to do away with the presidency. Okay, we're going to do away with the Senate. We're going to do away with jails, and we're going to do away with borders. What the hell are you creating? How can anybody live here? Never mind people from other, how can anybody, why would you want to come here? So basically, the predators are the only people who would survive. Whoever could do the most raping, whoever could do the most murdering, whoever could do the most stealing, those people are going to be the higher edge of society, because nobody else will be able to defend themselves. They ain't nobody you can call and nobody to arrest them, because we don't put anybody in jail. This is what they're advocating for. All right, I'm going to be speaking to the men directly right now, and I want you to be completely honest. You see, most guys aren't going to do a 10-step skincare routine. That's just not happening. That's not who we are. But at the same time, nobody wants to look 10 years older than they really are. There's this new product called Particle Face Cream. It's a 6-in-1 anti-aging face cream engineered specifically for men's thicker, more rugged skin. It helps with eye bags, dark spots, wrinkles. It soothes skin after shaving, moisturizes, and it's loaded with Dead Sea minerals. The whole idea is simple. One step instead of a counter full of bottles. It absorbs quickly, it smells good, and doesn't leave that oily, shiny residue a lot of guys hate. It's backed by science, is trusted by over 1 million men around the world, and it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you want to tighten up your face game and keep your skin looking more put together, check out Particle using the link in the description below. Go to particleformen.co, not .com, .co. That would be particleformen.co/Barry, and use the code Barry20 for 20% off site-wide. And this is what they want. Here's another one. Public ownership of major corporations. Establish public ownership of the largest corporations and essential industries to ensure democratic control and accountability to the people. So you want to own IBM. You want to own NVIDIA. You want to take over all these companies. And do what with them? Expect people to continue working? Just take ownership? This isn't socialism. This is completely communism. Take over the complete means of production in the entire country. Not making this up. All right. And the last block here is remake elections nationwide. Abolish the Electoral College. Replace the two-party system. Uh-oh, Democrats are coming for you as well. With a multi-party democracy, expand the House of Representatives, implement proportional representation, and ranked choice voting in all elections. Good luck. See, now you've seen this. Now Barry didn't make up anything. This is their actual platform. As you go through this, and you may want to rewind and read it again, because it sounds like the ultimate communist anarchist cookbook right here. How can you possibly have, I don't even know you'd call it a country. How could you have a country with no borders, no jails, no military? How can people possibly survive? I mean, that is basically a jungle. There would be no old people. They'd kill them all. Take whatever they have. Because you can't call anybody to, come and do anything, because we took care of that in, let's see here, box number here, redirect police and prison funding to public services. So not only are you going to do away with everybody, you're also going to not have anybody to enforce any laws. This is complete anarchy, anarchy at its best. We would be toast. There would be no United States. This would be complete out and out war. You might get away with that in New York. You might get away with it in Atlanta. But at some point, how do you expect to get the weaponry out of the hands of people who have them? How do you expect military people to lay down again? See, that's the important part about this. I don't care who you vote in. There's no way you can enforce this. What if, Florida said, no, we are not going to do it? Who are you going to send down here? You think you're going to go into some military base, take it over, and fly an F-15 down here? No, it ain't going to happen. They live in a fantasy world, a complete fantasy world.
They want to abolish the Senate. They want to abolish the carceral state. That means basically police forces and prisons. They want to abolish ICE and grant amnesty for all. They do not support any deportations whatsoever. They want to replace the president and Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary that is chosen by and subordinate to Congress, which basically now I guess this means this House. And with respect to House elections, they want to abolish the Electoral College. They want to replace the two-party system with a multi-party democracy. And they want to expand the House of Representatives, implement proportionate representation, and ranked choice voting in all elections. So this would be a total makeover of our constitutional system. They want a free Palestine. They want public ownership of major corporations. They want...
You want everything. You think people are just going to acquiesce and let you have it? Let you just come into their states, come into their towns, roll over, and just give you all this power? See, they can't do this if people don't lay down. They think there's going to be a huge amount of people who are going to subscribe to this, which is impossible. See, one of the things we know and we can feel very confident about is many of the liberals who they think are on their side wouldn't be on their side anymore. Barbara Streisand wouldn't like giving up her mansion in Malibu. Taylor Swift doesn't want to give up her jets. Like, what happens there? When the very same people, the Bruce Springsteens, the Rage Against or Rage with the Machine people at this point, all these people who are supporting Democrat socialists, what happens when the Democrat socialists come after you? Oh, they're not going to come after me. I'm going to be one of the elite. It doesn't work that way. They need everybody's money. Remember, they're bringing everybody from all over the world here. There is not going to be enough to go around. And then you won't have anybody guarding your house. They'll just come take your stuff. This is a recipe for complete anarchy. It is a recipe for the end of the world. Can you imagine any of these nuts having access to the nuclear arsenal? That wasn't mentioned. Who is going to be in charge of the nuclear arsenal that one of you idiots can decide to point wherever you want? They haven't thought this stuff through. Mandami? We're gonna let Mandami be in charge? Who exactly do you think's going to do all this stuff once you disrupt and tear down the military? Who's going to be flying the B-2?
Defund the Department of War. This is a very radical organization. And you would laugh at a lot of these types of proposals, but you can't really laugh at it anymore because these guys are taking over the Democratic Party. And you can see the Democratic establishment is in complete panic right now because they have lost control of the party to Zoram Mamdani and his allies. So Jason, like you said, I mean, let's take this one race here. New York 13, you've got this ally of Hakeem Jeffries, longtime incumbent congressman, Espaillat, I guess is his name. He is the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and he was defeated by an unemployed 32-year-old PhD candidate. She's never had a job.
Never had a job. What do? I'm an organizer. What the hell are you organizing? You're 32. All you've been is in college your entire life. You've never earned a single dollar, and you destroyed the rate that the candidate was running against you. How? Who's voting? Obviously, we know it was a limited amount of people that voted, but nonetheless, this woman is going to be sitting there next to the bald-headed chick and AOC and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, and between them, they don't have the IQ to run a data center. And we're putting all these people in Congress. At some point, we're going to just have to rip the Band-Aid off. I don't know if that's what President Trump is waiting for. But at some point, we're going to have to do something absolutely nutty.
He's been in college for 10 years, I guess, writing this PhD thesis. And I think even by DSA standards, she might be kind of a lunatic. So she has declared that she wants to end Western civilization. She wants to eradicate Western civilization.
Wait a second, what? We're soaking in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so these were her actual tweets. This is what this woman was saying. Let me move it back. So I should have put it above. Okay, there you can see it. I'm fighting. This is her. This is the woman that just got elected in New York. She posted this. I am fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. What the hell were people in New York thinking? How do you vote for somebody who is telling you there's nothing hiding here? She is telling these people, my job is going to be to destroy this country. Eradicate doesn't mean fix. Eradicate doesn't mean let me tinker here or there. Eradicate means eliminate. Get rid of Western civilization. What? Have we lost our freaking minds? We got a Nazi running up in Maine. We got these people getting elected. What is it the rapture or something? Are we already there? How in the hell are people even looking at the... Oh, that's right. They're not paying attention, which is why Barry's doing these shows.
We're soaking in it.
Yeah. She actually said she used the American flag as a napkin to clean her hands.
Oh.
She attended a rally one day after October 7th celebrating the slaughter of Israeli civilians. I mean, she's very pro-Palestine, but even to the point of celebrating Israeli civilian deaths. She calls white women ugly colonizers. She's called for the complete...
No, he left something out. He left something out there. I was looking away. Let me see if he showed the actual tweet, because okay, yeah, this pissed me off. This pissed off my wife. It's going to piss off a lot of people. So I want you to see that. Black men and Arab men are fetishizing ugly colonizer women. So what she is saying is she doesn't want to see interracial relationships. Because Robin is a fetishizing, ugly colonizer woman, which none of that other than a woman part is correct, which we don't know how they define women, so I don't know. But for you to say fetishizing, ugly colonizer woman, you ain't seen my wife, number one. Number two, who the hell are you to tell... Aren't you the people talk about you can love anybody you want to love? Oh, except the fact that they might be white women. You got a whole lot of NBA and NFL players you're going to have to deal with. Mm-hmm.
She's called for the complete defunding of the police and abolishing all prisons and borders. Doesn't want a single deportation. Hates the police, openly calls them pigs, or has on social media before. Calls U.S. service members war criminals and says the U.S. is a disgrace of a country. She's written favorably about communism and seizing the means of production, and on and on and on. So this is basically the new Democratic Party. It's going to be, even if the Democrats do take the House in November and Hakeem Jeffries becomes Speaker, this is going to prove to be a huge headache for him, managing all these new DSA members, because they do not actually see the traditional establishment wing of the Democratic Party as an ally. They see it as an obstacle. This is the DSA co-chair, Josh Block.
All right, so you need to see this. This was, as you can see on the screen, a timestamp. It's not an old tweet. This is a new tweet at 7:36 2 days ago. All right, we're using I don't understand how Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, after seeing this, didn't just say enough. We need to squash these people like bugs. We're using the Democrat Party as a ballot access vehicle, not because we share its goals. We build our own organization, get elected under the Democrat label, caucus with Democrats when it's useful, just to use them, and then push our own agenda from the inside. We see the Democrat establishment as an obstacle, not a home. Forget Republicans. They're openly telling the Democrats, we're just going to use you like a $2 hooker in Saigon. We have no use for you. Your entire party is nothing more than a stepping stone for us. And literally, we're going to step all over your heads and use you and your apparatus. Right now, Hillary Clinton, like, no, you're not getting the Clinton machine, which is probably why James Carville is screaming. I haven't heard much from Obama yet, but there's got to be some puppet masters like, you need to do something about this. But at the same time, I have seen many Democrats coming out, it's a big tent. Well, it's not your tent anymore. These people are letting you know in no uncertain terms, we take over the tent. You get to hang out, but we're just using you. Can you imagine going into a relationship where the other person says to you, I'm just going to use you for everything I can get. Take me out to dinner, do whatever you need to do. Let me move into your house. I'm going to take it over because you're just a means to an end. And you have the balls to put that in a public forum. Again, like I've been saying, they're not hiding where they're going. Here's our platform. We're going to destroy America. We're going to eradicate the Western civilization, and we're going to use you people to get there. You can never accuse them of lying. So how does any Democrat look at this and go, oh, that's going to be fine. We're going to have a big tent. No, they don't want you in the big tent. They are going to come into the big tent. You're inviting them into the big tent, and then they're going to kick your ass out of the big tent.
We're using the Democratic Party as a ballot access vehicle.
Oh, my God.
Not because we share its goals. We build our own organization, get elected under the Democratic label, caucus with Democrats when it's useful, and push our own agenda from the inside. We see the Democratic establishment as an obstacle, not a home. So the DSA is coming from the Democratic Party. It controls the base now. It's where all the energy is. I think this takeover will continue. I think the DSA will gradually take over more and more of the Democratic Party. And all I can say to these establishment Democrats is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You supported this open border policy that brought in this wave of mass migration. That is a huge part of the base of this new DSA wing. Mamdani would not have won the mayoral election in New York if it had just been native-born New Yorkers voting. It was the mass migrant vote in New York that swung it to.
Wait a minute. I thought they weren't supposed to vote. How did the mass migrant vote in the New York election? Are you telling me in a couple of years they all became citizens? No. This is their recipe. This is it. You're looking at it. If it was just New Yorkers, it wasn't going to be close. Mamdani would have lost by 30 points. Here, let me bring that back so you guys can see that. If it was just American New Yorkers.
Voting?
No, I'm 9 points. Cuomo would have had 40. Mamdani would have had 31. If it was just American-born people. And if Sliwa had done something and got the hell out the race, those people would have voted for Cuomo most likely. They weren't going to vote for Mamdani. So their recipe, and now they've got their playbook and they know how to run it from state to state to state, from town to town to town. That's how they're going to do it. And the Democrats at this point are dropping their pants and bending over. Oh, we just want everybody here. No, it ain't going to work that way.
It was the mass migrant vote in New York that swung it to Mamdani. It's not exclusively the DSA base. It's the migrants plus these overeducated white progressives who, I say overeducated because They're more downwardly mobile. They end up going to work in academia or NGOs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're hard left wing. They're kind of the vanguard. And it's this combination of these, recent college graduates who are kind of the organizers and this migrant movement who are really taking over the Democratic Party. But again, this all goes back to Democratic Party policies. They may not have intended for this to happen. They may not have intended for them to lose control. But
all right, so that's a question I'll ask you. We saw how they opened the border. We saw how they brought all these people in. Did they not think this was going to happen? So was the whole Mandami socialist communist thing a offshoot, or was this a plan from the Democrats all along? I don't think that they expected this. I think they thought they were going to control all these illegals that came in. I think they had it and were like, you're going to vote for who we tell you to vote. We're going to give you, EBT cards. We're going to give you free health care. We're going to give you bus passes. We're going to give you the Obama phone, and you're going to do what we tell you. And little did they know, especially in New York City, that these guys were going to go vote for the communists. So I don't know, chicken and egg, which came first, what was supposed to happen. And at this point, does it match with what actually did happen?
it was their open border policy. It was also the fact that they have cracked the melting pot and the policy we had for many years in America of assimilating migrants, right? Immigrants.
Yep.
That all got cracked by multiculturalism and wokeism. We don't really do that anymore. So now you've got these candidates like Chevalier openly declaring they're not just anti-American, they're post-American. They don't have any respect for the American system, our constitutional order, our free enterprise system. They want to introduce something in much different, and it's going to look a lot like the countries where these migrants are coming from.
You know, I want you to go back and you can rewind it and get to this section, because most people you talk to, your coworkers, your friends, your family members, are not going to believe that this is actually the platform, because they don't know where to look. They don't know where to get it. And so they're like, no, they just want to what? You've heard their actual words tonight. You can read their platform. I venture to say most of the people you're going to be talking to, and you say, hey, do you know what they want to do, what their platform is with the military, their platform is with police actions? Do you know any of this? I guarantee you the people in New York didn't. The people who voted for them obviously did, because more than likely, they all had their little organizing and they knew what they want to do. I'm sure Mandami knew. But the rest of the people who are just walking through life, living life, they're not going to know in New York what hit them, even though they published it. And I got to say, the brazenness of the largesse of the bulls, for you to publish that we are going to do all this, and this is where we want to go, and we want to eradicate the entirety of the Western civilization, and you had people going, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, give me some of that. Mm-hmm.
Dan, I'm trying to wrap my head around what the movement actually represents. So I've spent some time on the website of the Democratic Socialists of America. I'm just going to run through a couple of pages that caught my eye. The first of them is this. It speaks of Medicare for all, ending the war on drugs, fighting mass incarceration.
See, I didn't even get to all that. They want Medicare for all. They don't want they don't want any sort of policing of drugs. You want to get high? Get high. None of it. No, they don't have the idea to do anything negative in regards to crime, which to me is insane. Absolutely bonkers.
And police brutality, college for all, housing for all, and support for working families. And then when I go deeper, I see this: public ownership of large corporations, free everything, debt cancellation, Medicare for all with zero cost sharing, tuition-free college plus free room and board, full student debt cancellation, universal child care, and universal rent control, voting.
Somebody asked a great question in the chat. Ms. Loopy. She's like, where was all this info before the election? On their website. None of this was like just all of a sudden sleuth and we had private investigators looking. No, they said it. She actually made those tweets. Yeah, I don't want white women and black men, and I don't want this, and I want to eradicate Western. No, she put it all out there. The people in New York didn't look. One of the reasons I'm spending time on it right now is because I want you to know, because it's coming to your town. It's coming to where you live. And that way you won't get caught flat-footed and you won't get caught in a situation where you don't know what's coming. So there's going to be somebody running for an election somewhere in your town or your state who's going to openly say, I'm with the DSA. I am with the Democrat Socialist of America. And now you know what they're all about. Now you can go to a town hall meeting and go, wait a second, are you down with this? Is this what you really want to do here? Because that's what it should have happened in New York. Somebody should have walked in with a clipboard and go, I got a question for you. You want to get away? All policing has to go away. You want no borders. You want to give drugs in college for everybody. You don't want the military. And then you can stand up in that meeting and go, is this what you guys all want? Because now that it's coming out to the masses, she's out there on television. Well, actually, a couple of them are on television going, well, that's how I used to feel. That's how I used to think that before.
Rights for non-citizens. Universal suffrage, it says, would extend full voting rights to non-citizens and open borders, immigration, freedom of movement, let workers migrate freely without restrictive immigration controls, etc. Try to convince me that you can sell this outside of very blue New York congressional districts, meaning in middle America.
Yeah, so all over this country today, people are feeling like they have to work way harder to get by. People can't pay rent. They can't afford groceries. They see the billionaires getting richer while their own lives are getting worse.
Okay, so you're telling me these broke-ass people around the country, your prescription to them is we're going to let in as many people as possible to drive things higher. Because that's what you just said. We're going to open borders. It can be freely. People from anywhere can come here. There'll be no more private property. So you think that the remedy for what the people are feeling right now, the gas prices are too high, the groceries, is to make it worse. Is that what you're saying? That's exactly what they're saying. Actually, what they're saying is, we don't care if you don't like it, especially if you're white. See, that's the other part of this, because the people right now who are complaining and saying, like he just said, they go right back to affordability, immediate. So if there's more people looking to acquire or steal more goods, what happens to the price of those goods? This is all the way back to like sophomore economics. More people going after the same amount of goods, or probably less, because you're going to steal the means of production, and you've never done anything but be an organizer. So now you got to learn how to run a combine and go out there and get all the crops, which means you're going to screw up. Oh, but that's right. You're going to kill all the cattle because you don't want people eating meat. So you're just going to harvest ferns and bring them to market and say, eat some bushes. And you think people are going to be okay with that? Because you have everything he just said, he has not addressed with what they're doing. What he's saying is these people are desperate, they're pissed off, and we can sell them a dream. That's what he's saying.
They're seeing Elon Musk become the world's first trillionaire, and he was responsible for overseeing a so-called reducing government inefficiencies while actually stripping public services for millions of Americans. So while the Trump administration, with the support of Democrats, has been increasing a military budget to $1 trillion and giving trillions of dollars in tax cuts to the already wealthiest.
And so the guy answering the question, he's thinking the same thing you are. What the hell does that do for the guy who thinks that, things are too high? So you think you're going to take the military budget and just spread that around And then once you spread that around and there's no military, and other people say, hey, there's no military in the United States, hey, let's go over and take it over. It doesn't make any sense. Even look at these guys' faces. The two of them are like, you guys really aren't making any sense. Explain to me how it makes people's lives better. Because when I grew up, I used to aspire to be like some of the people he's talking about negatively. I don't care if Elon Musk is a trillionaire or a billionaire. I worked for a billionaire. Did I want to go blow up his airplane? I wanted to kick his butt a few times because he was a pain in the ass. But other than that, I'm like, I want to be as close to what he's doing as possible. I want to learn as much as possible. I want to understand what he does with his money. By the way, he buys as many mobile home parks as he can. That's his investment strategy everywhere around the country. My old boy buys mobile home parks. I'm like, okay, I got you. But anyway, I digress. Billionaires, multi-millionaires, they should be inspiring you. Not, you shouldn't be mad at them. There's a road right here in Boca where you can drive down. They call it the Millionaire Mile. And it's some of the biggest, most luxurious homes you'd ever see. People, I've mentioned it before, their yachts cost more than most people make in a lifetime. And I drive down there often. And I'll go up the coast and I'll just look at some of these homes. Not because I'm mad, but because it inspires me. Keep going. Hey, if Robin wants to get a condo on the ocean, maybe we look at this building that's under construction right now. What do we need to do to get there? What happened in our society where you look at somebody who has and you get mad and think, I want to take it? It was never that way. It was always aspirational.
Huge disparity in what people are feeling in their day-to-day lives. People are feeling like neither political party is serving them in power. So when we talk about these expansive public services like universal health care, free college, affordable childcare, and having higher taxes on the wealthy and shifting resources away from this extreme militarism,
I'm loving it because this guy's on CNN and he's looking at this guy going, you're butt poop crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Where do you think that those weapons come from? I don't know. Go talk to the people at Lockheed Martin. And as they're producing the bombs and the missiles and the tanks and everything else and the drones, there's people working, manufacturing all this stuff. And the government pays them because we need the weaponry. And the people who get to make the bombs and missiles, they have jobs. So if you're going to take the budget away from the military and there's no budget, what are all these people going to do?
it's overwhelmingly in people all over the country. So this is not isolated to New York City. And by the way, New York City is America's city. It's the largest city in the world. And
no, it's not. Oh, you're letting people know you're a complete moron. Oh, boy.
The wealthiest city in the world. And Donald Trump comes out of New York City. Rudy Giuliani was mayor when I was growing up in New York City.
Well, I hear you, but I'm mindful. But I'm there.
It makes absolutely no sense. None whatsoever. Now, I wanted to show this to you because the last time we talked about this stuff, you know, when SV showed the people in the street looking completely nuts, bald-headed women, women not shaving their armpits, those are their useless idiots. They're not coming at you that way. I showed you a woman in Colorado who is now running for office, and she is the antithesis of what you're seeing in the street. They understand social media, they understand television, and they're bringing people out there. Even Mondami, they clipped his hair, made him look, they took off the turban off his head and made him look very presentable, let him talk, let him have that big smile. They understand what to do and how to use media. And so this woman you're about to see, this is the socialist running for office in Colorado. And I told you, they're bringing out a pretty looking young woman who looks completely demure, and there's no way you can think she's the devil incarnate. unless you listen to what she says.
The suggestion that Israel had it coming?
No, not at all. It's about understanding the conditions in which violence and war happens, right? Israel is a country that has been accused of apartheid and occupation for decades now.
By who? It just flows off her lips. She's quiet and she's demure. And, Israel's one of those countries that's been accused of apartheid. By who? Who has accused Israel of apartheid?
And has been able to resist any kind of change despite all of the frustration on the world stage that people have had for the conditions that Palestinians have been living in. And I hope that as an ally that Israel claims to be, that they would be responsive to our demands to make sure that they change those conditions so that...
Whose demands? Guy, I don't understand how these reporters do this stuff, because I'd have stopped it right there. Responsive to whose demands? The Democrat Socialists of America? Your demands? You're running for a small office in Colorado. The other ones are small districts in New York. They get this much of the vote of the people who live there. And you're putting demands on an entire country?
Can actually finally start to the work of peace building and delivering aid to the people in need.
Do you believe that the 9/11 terrorist attacks on America were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy?
You had to think about that. He asked you, were the 9/11 attacks basically our fault? You didn't have an immediate no. You didn't have an immediate no because not a single American flew those planes into buildings. Couldn't be our fault because we didn't do it. Let me think about that. That's a tough one. I'll get back to you.
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East, that forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response.
Some people got mad and some people flew some planes into a building because they got mad. And they figured that was their only response. She just said that. She's running for office in Colorado, and they don't hide. She said it in a different way, very quiet. But same thing, she said it was our fault.
And again, just like I said before, our responsibility is to getting rid of those conditions that lead to violence in the first place.
You recently campaigned with Hassan Piker. He's got a huge streaming audience. Do you agree with his statement that Hamas is a lesser evil than Israel?
No, I don't.
You've called Israel's actions in Gaza a genocide. You've called for an arms embargo against Israel. Would that include the U.S. selling or financing defensive weapons that Israel uses to protect itself against rocket attacks from Hezbollah or Iran?
Yes. Yeah,
it would.
It would.
I don't know how he's sitting there quietly asking these questions, and she's like, yeah, we don't want to give Israel any more protection. Even though Hezbollah and all these other countries are trying to blow them off the face of the earth, yeah. No, we don't want to get no help. They're coming. Now you hear it.
Why not differentiate between offensive weapons used to wage war against another population and then defensive weapons that are used to protect civilians from outside attack?
I believe that our selling of arms to Israel, defensive or offensive, gives them the cover to continue the genocide that's taking place in Palestine and now the ethnic cleansing that's taking place in Lebanon.
We are you have to read and listen to what she says. We are facilitating ethnic cleansing in Lebanon. She said basically, we are trying to wipe out an entire population by facilitating it, by helping Israel. This is what these young people are thinking and hearing.
Debate within the Democratic Party and elsewhere about what is anti-Semitism and what is anti-Zionism. That firebombing attack in Boulder on the group of peaceful protesters there that were protesting in support of the Jewish hostages being held by Hamas, was that firebombing attack on them an act of anti-Semitism?
I don't know what was in the heart of the perpetrator. All I know is that he went and attacked innocent people because of what they might have believed. And I don't even know what the people that were at that protest believed too. In fact, most of them were probably just there to, ask that the people who were kidnapped during October 7th be returned home to their families. That's not a political statement in and of itself.
But you would not describe it as anti-Semitism?
I don't know. I don't know what his intentions were.
Yeah. Well, if anything from tonight, you will take away from this that you're being educated, and you can't turn away from this. Not even this much, because now you need. I mean, I bet you the people in Colorado where she's running, whatever district she's in, they don't know what she's talking about. They don't know who she stands for. They don't know that they have a complete ideology where they want to, quote, eradicate Western civilization. And they're not coming at you with screaming and machetes and sickles. They're coming at you with very polished people. Excuse me. These people have been trained. They are operatives. They know how to sit there. They know how to look pretty. They know how to calmly say the most evil crap you can imagine. And they say it knowing full well most people probably won't see it. Now, I don't know. Some of you may live in Colorado, and some of you may say, wait a minute, is that the person running in my district? Yeah, now you got to get out there and tell other people. Your cue, because they're not hiding it, your cue moving forward is if somebody says, I am a democratic socialist, whichever made-up term that is, you now know what they're all about. They bought it hook, line, and sinker. They're drinking a Kool-Aid, and they're coming for you. Scary times. Scary times. Somebody in the chat said, why is this all happening under the Trump administration? Well, he's the president. He's not running a district in Colorado or a district in New York City. There is just the same way we want to live without government overreach is the same thing. He has to be very careful in regards to making sure that the states do what they want to do. Now, that may take it to the next realm where Insurrection Act, I don't care if you're smiling and you're a little demure woman, if you're advocating for the eradication of Western civilization, I don't think you can be seated. Maybe you get seated in Colorado. I don't know about those New York people and how they're going to get seated in Washington. You have to make a vow. You have to agree to uphold the Constitution. Meanwhile, you've already posted you don't agree with imagine it. You hire someone to work in your company and their job is X, Y, and Z. And then you find out what they really want to do is destroy your company. I'd like a job here because I'd like to eradicate your company. Let's see, number 2, where is it? Number 8. Public ownership of major corporations. There will be no CEO here. We are going to take it over. What? Why would I hire you? Why would I ever bring you in? That's where we are.